In the throes of slumber, we both are at our most vulnerable and most powerful as well. True, we are at our most vulnerable whilst unconscious for 8 hours at a time, but it is in these times that we dream. And as Cthulhu sleeps in the eternal sunken city, as do we sleep every night, and within our dreams, we are whatever we want to be. Perhaps we dream of being a ninja, a Power Ranger.
Oh boy, sleep! That's where I'm a Viking!
Whatever it was you dreamed of being, you dreamt it, and you most likely were super awesome badass at it too. Or maybe you just needed to fight Freddy Krueger, so you honed your Dream Warrior skills. Regardless, we all had our silly little childhood fantasies, and we as adults still have our fun power fantasies. But what if I told you there was a humble game that combined our childhood dreaming, the platforming formula that was super popular for games at the time? Well, there is, and it's called 40 Winks. Developed by Eurocom Interactive, 40 Winks is an action platformer / collectathon that saw release on the PlayStation 1 in November of 1999 for the States and the EU too. 40 Winks would later get a port to the N64 in 2019. Quite the gap in time and console generations for that to happen, that's for sure. Backstory for that, as well as the backstory for me deciding to play this game. The Nintendo 64 version was developed in tandem with the PS1 version back in the day, and it actually was basically completed back then too. The N64 version even got reviewed in 2 different magazines, Nintendo Official Magazine UK and Nintendo Power too, with the latter magazine even featuring a guide for it. However, the PlayStation version bombed, and because of that, the N64 version never saw an official wide-scale release. Until the company, Pico Interactive, acquired the rights to the game and launched a Kickstarter to acquire the necessary resources to release the N64 version finally, as well as giving the game a Steam port too. It managed to get funded same day, and both versions of the game released. One in 2018, and one in 2019, respectively. To go back to myself, the reason I wanted to review this game came from the fact that I saw it on the GOG website during their summer sale, and it kind of threw me for a loop. Why was this random PS1 game on PC now, officially? Well, I gave you that info already, and I was planning on reviewing the PC version of the game, but the reviews on Steam prevented me from doing so. Apparently, the PC version is nothing more than an emulated version of the original game. A crappy one at that. So I just decided to regular emulate it. I'm not wasting $12 on an emulation. Hell, when it was $5 when it was on sale, I didn't even think it was worth it. Oh, and one last random note before the review proper. There's also a Game Boy version of this game that was unearthed in 2021. Looks okay. Now let's get to the actual review. 40 Winks stars dual protagonist Ruff and Tumble, a brother-sister team with a friendly dynamic instead of an antagonistic one as you normally see. They also have very active imaginations, as any kid would, of course. Both kids are basically identical, though they both have a unique running attack, Tuff's being a slide kick and Tumble's being a bowling ball roll. Which, honestly, I think Ruff might be the better character overall, just because of his slide kick. His slide goes way farther and it recovers almost instantly, whereas Tumble's roll is really slow and has this weird recovery period at the end, leaving you open to get hit. Maybe they knew, since all throughout my playthrough with Ruff, a bunch of misandrous doors refused to open for me. Sex is bullshit in a game. Shake my head. The two were headed to bed for the night, with their mother telling them a bedtime story.
But Mom, bedtime's boring. Yeah, there's nothing to do but lie here getting bored.
Kid, when you get to be my age, sleep is all you'll want to do. Trust me. You see, in this world, deep sleep and good dreams are caused by creatures called winks. They're these furry little dudes who live in the land of dreams. On the opposite end of things, bad dreams are caused by evil little gremlins called hoodwinks. Tumble inquires as to what would happen if the winks were captured or they disappeared as a result of the hoodwinks, but her mother reassures her that that could never happen, but if it ever did, well, the two of them would have to rescue them. Cut to villains Nightcap and Threadbare, who are planning to do exactly that. Why?
If I can't get a good night's sleep, then why should anyone else? From now on, sweet dreams have been cancelled.
Because Nightcap can't sleep, and according to him, if he can't sleep, no one can. Can't lie, I admire how petty that is. Some villains do stuff for money, others for power or eternal life. Nightcap says fuck your sleep, just because he can't sleep. The Winks are promptly kidnapped, and Ruff and Tumble immediately head off to rescue them. Your chosen character will awaken in their bedroom in the Dreaming Realm. This serves as the hub world for 40 Winks, the game holding 6 different dream worlds to traverse on your heroic journey to rescue all the Winks. At the start, you'll find most of your dream house locked though, the doors only opening after defeating the bosses of a given area. So, as for now, there are only 2 open rooms, first being the kids' playroom, which only serves as a tutorial ground for the game. A tutorial given by the friendly NPC, Wakey Wakey the Clock. He also serves the game's guide too, so you'll be seeing a lot of him throughout the game. Wakey Wakey gives you the basics here. You can run, you can jump, you have a 3-hit attack combo, a slide, and a ground pound for basic offense too. But your most deadly attack is...
In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
A Scream, which is your special attack and costs a moon to use. Basic skills mastered, you charge fearlessly up to the attic and head into the Nightmare World, which is another hub world. Strangely, this is how every world works in 40 Winks. Each realm has 3 sub-levels to complete, 2 to 3 Winks to rescue in each level, and 1 big boss to defeat at the end of it. So, to save sleep, I quickly hopped into the first level that I saw. I can't lie, I like the atmosphere this spooky level cuts. I really love the background music for it too. It's absolutely perfect as a horror soundscape background music track. As I traversed this spooky world, I ran across the game's collectibles. Moons power your special attack, so pick these up so you can scream more. Z's are what keep you asleep in this game, so they're your life bar. When you take a hit, you lose a few permanently, but you'll also lose some that just drop on the ground, which you can pick back up if you're quick enough. Cogs will unlock the doors that bar your progress through levels, and in each level there are always 4 dream keys, which are hidden throughout the level and are required to unlock the final boss for each area. Since you're probably curious, it's fairly easy to find these keys. Each level does require some exploration to locate them, but the levels, I can't lie, are pretty tight and not terribly big, so potentially not too much backtracking to deal with here. Lastly, you'll also have to collect the Winks in a given level, which opens up the portal back to the hub world. This concludes the collectathon portion of this review. But to now talk about the most noteworthy part of the game, throughout the levels you'll find these little jack-in-the-boxes which you can leap into, and after a brief pop goes the weasel segment, you pop out into your new beastly Dream Warrior form. These are unfortunately only temporary, but for 99 seconds you're an absolute monster in combat. There's a handful of these transformations, all with different movesets. These range from a jester, to a superhero, to a sweet ninja, and well, this one is called Monster in-game, but it's clearly just a caveman. Sidebar, when you were all kids and you fantasized about being a Power Ranger or a Sailor Scout, did any of you ever fantasize about being a caveman? Not knocking it, I've watched Primal. I could definitely see the appeal of bonking dinosaurs on the head with a big club and eating big meat, but I was a ninja kid. I never fantasized about being a caveman. Anyway, all these transformations are incredibly powerful with strong melee attacks or super fast ones instead, and all have unique specials to complement them as well. I think the caveman has the best special too. Not just because it's funny to barf on people, but mainly because it hits up to like 4 times, which is an instant kill on like every basic enemy in the game. All these transformations also sport unique attributes, like the Jester's high leaping capability, the ninja's ability to climb across rope bridges, and the hero's double jump. Each also has its own attack power and 3-hit combo. I must remark here that I find it odd the ninja seems to be the weakest in terms of attack power. Deadly assassin, but it still takes 6 hits to kill anything. Both kids also obviously have their own unique models for their transformations, and in addition to combat, these forms are used pretty often for puzzle solving. And by puzzle solving, I mean butt slamming a marked button before your transformation timer runs out. I battled my way through the levels of Haunted Hijinks, which consists of a big-ass haunted house, a graveyard, and some less interesting areas too. After collecting everything I needed, I headed off to face the final boss of the area, and Nightcap's lackey, Threadbare. Guess old Nightcap is too much of a pussy to do his own dirty work. Can't even kill a child, Nightcap, really. Threadbare hops atop a giant spider to kill you. Thankfully, the spider has terrible cardio, so it gets gassed after you run around for a little bit, and then you can whack it to death pretty easily.
Next time, I'll get you next time.
We then go to a cutscene where we see Nightcap buffing up Threadbare after his loss for an eventual round 2. Back home, we've unlocked the bathroom, and you hop into the toilet, and man, a toilet is an appropriate portal for this next area. Seabound Shenanigans is a predominantly underwater segment in each level. Swimming in this game sucks. It has inverted controls by default, which I fucking hate. Not to mention your underwater attack is incredibly pathetic and nigh on unusable, so you might as well not even bother fighting underwater. Your transformations don't fare much better underwater either, for reference. They're all pretty lame. The world was such a slog to get through, I can't lie. I collected everything I needed and we hop on over to second boss here.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
Its weakness is getting dizzy, so you run in circles and you whack it and you win.
Here's the left one, your magnificence.
Oh, Jesus, I destroyed Threadbare's eyes in that last fight, apparently. Sucks to be him. But anyway, I open up the next area, and we blast off into space. And essentially, that's how the game flows from here. Lock a new area, clear 3 sub-levels, fight a boss. Since we're at the midway point now, let's talk about how all this functions. How about that? Well, Not great, I can't lie. First off, the movement in this game is very slidey. It really feels like you're on an ice rink the entire game. Typically a platformer has an ice level, or perhaps an ice world to contend with, but 40 Winks reminds you of this favorite archetype all game. Slidiness makes some of the more precise platforming a bit of a nightmare. Not much of that is required for this game, thankfully, but it is frustrating regardless when it crops up. Combat-wise, 40 Winks is pretty meh as well. Your basic 3-strike combo has a lot of recovery on that last attack, so if you don't kill instantly, well, you're gonna take a hit. Honestly, you're better off just tapping attack twice, since it results in this really quick double swipe that if you learn the rhythm of, you can mash pretty effectively. Unless you're transformed, in which case, mash as much as you possibly can. Especially if you have an AoE third hit like the Jester or the Caveman. Also, later on in the game, the combat does get a bit tedious as enemies get meatier and meatier. Some enemies also have shields, which you have to maneuver around, otherwise they're totally invincible to all damage. Which is possible, but I still feel like these knights rotate a bit too quickly for this to be an enjoyable mechanic. Also, this game has fall damage. Yes, you can counter it with a butt slam, but that's stupid anyway. Platformers shouldn't have fall damage, period. Another dumb bit of this game that I'd like to remark on is that when you transform back into your normal form, you have 0 immunity frames, so you're still open to take damage. Anyway, Freddy Fazbear hops into a UFO to stop whatever kid you chose, so I stuff some missiles up his ass and bring down the bear once again. Oh, the bear is now walking with a limp. I've crippled him. Not often I feel bad for a crony of the main villain, but Threadbare, man, he seems like a good guy, I can't lie. I hope Nightcap doesn't treat him too...
Messed up again, you don't.
Oh, what the fuck, Nightcap? He just starts beating the shit out of this poor bear. This dude just went from asshole to irredeemable asshole to me. Not cool, Nightcap. That's your one and only friend. It's on site now. I head back to the home hub world, and man, this place isn't a house, it's a fucking palace. Comparable to the house in Clockwork Knight, I can't lie. I wonder what the parents do for a living. Anyway, Dinosaur Land is next. This part of the game is where I definitely feel like the difficulty starts spiking up significantly. Enemies get stronger, do more damage, take way more damage too. Traps are also way more deadly, and there's far more instant pitfalls too. When you lose all your lives, it's an instant game over too. I hope you saved at some point before this last level. Credit to the game though, there are actually several game over cutscenes where Nightcap and Threadbare brag about their victory over 2 children.
Aha! Thought you could get the better of old Nightcap, eh? Well, you sleep tight. And don't let those hoodwinks bite. Victory, Threadbare! Victory! Threadbare!
What? What? Let me at him! Let me at him!
We've won, you brainless stuffed animal! Oh, that's right! That's right! No one will be sleeping tonight. Sweet dreams.
Normally I wouldn't bitch about pitfalls and platformers like this, but lives are a bit difficult to come by in this game. Rough and tumble coins are generally pretty well hidden and can be hard to come by come late game. Going into the harder levels, being resource poor was a very constant threat for me. Thankfully though, the game does offer a minigame to help mitigate this problem. A racing one. Each world has one flying enemy around the hub world, and if you club them twice, you enter a race against them. A race with a ton of collectibles that you're allowed to keep as long as you win that race, of course. Back to Dinosaur World, I only have 2 complaints. 1, you can kill the T-Rex with your basic attacks. That's kind of weird to me, I can't lie. And 2, there's a part where I got kind of lost, with the solution being this ground pound spot, which was barely visible to me. Something a little more obvious next time would have been nice for sure. The Dinoland boss is Threadbare on a Triceratops. Make him charge, avoid it, then hit him. Simple. Then, Threadbare fucking dies.
This might hurt a little.
And we move on to the next dream world, Castleton. Castleton is where enemies really start beefing up, so be cautious unless you've mastered that double slap I mentioned earlier. So let's leap to the final boss, Nightmare Threadbare. I think there's a strategy here. One time I got him stuck on one of the acid fountains, but honestly, just get as many Z's as you can before this one, and just come here beating his ass and taking his hits. You'll kill him far before he does you. While doing so, I apparently ripped Threadbare's leg clean off Quan Chi style and sent him back to Nightcap so he can just do it again. Then we hop into the bathtub and jet away to the final subworld of 40 Winks. Pirate Land. I can't lie, I think it's kind of strange that a lot of these worlds don't have a corresponding transformation for them. There's no pirate for the pirate world, there's no werewolf for the horror world, and well, there's no Japan land for the ninja. Bit strange for me. I'd say kids fantasize more about being a pirate versus being a caveman though, but I digress. I like the final boss here. It's actually pretty different from the rest of them so far. You're blasting Threadbare with broadside cannon fire from your ship as he fires his crewmates at you to stop you. It's kind of simple, but I kind of prefer the variety versus just, you know, running in a circle and then hitting the boss. I blast him, and in the process it turns out Threadbare loses an arm and is berated once more. Now, you've rescued the 40 Winks, and you can finally leave your dream house and storm Nightcap's stronghold. Rough and Tumble advance in the Bastard's home and is met by Nightcap's last line of defense, Threadbare, and an iron golem bear of all things. And it's not a very good boss battle. That's all you have to do is slide kick the golem 3 times, then hit him. Fun boss fight. I'm sure the one against Nightcap will be better though. Dawn breaks as Threadbare lay dying, and Nightcap, finally sick of his companion, tosses the poor bear out after he had the audacity to suggest surrendering. Rough and Tumble run into Threadbare outside the gates because they just left, I guess? We then find out that Nightcap is a total dumbass.
Sure, he's a bit tetchy. He's only ever mean to people smaller than himself. Really, he's just tired and grisly.
What?
Oh, yes, he's a different person after a good night's sleep.
But why doesn't he just go to bed early?
Oh, not with that terrible noise going on in his bedroom all night long. Tick tock, tick tock.
So that big clock in his house keeps him awake?
He can't sleep because he lives in a clock tower and the gears keep him awake. The man is only a villain due to his own damn stupidity. Threadbare lets you know that Nightcap isn't too bad a guy as long as he gets a good night's sleep. So Rough and Tumble head off to deal with him. By smashing the fucking clock tower somehow. Nightcap sleeps, wakes up, tries to kill a hoodwink, but slips and falls. The game promptly ends thereafter. No cool final showdown with Nightcap at all, which is super disappointing, I can't lie. And on that wet fart of an ending, that's 40 Winks. I won't lie, it was kinda meh. I can see why it didn't sell too well back in the day. Where 40 Winks excels is its fun world designs, colorful transformations, and enemies, as well as just having a very fun overall aesthetic. Unfortunately, some poor game design choices and sleep-inducing boss fights hold this one back from being anything other than mediocre. In retrospect, I probably should have played the N64 version instead, since that one actually supports enhanced graphics via an add-on for the N64, and it has cooperative play too. Oh well, I suppose it can't be helped now. That'll be the end of this video, though. As always, my name is HadesManticore, and this channel is CityStateManticore. I thank you very much for watching this one. Feel free to leave a like and a comment as well. Be sure to subscribe too, since, as always, there's more content on the horizon. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.